Hey everyone, got a big mail day, huge mail day. Look at this mail. Look at all this mail. I can't even get it on the screen. Let's take a look, starting with My Never Matter. So this one spiked pretty heavily due to new combo with the one ring. And I just like this card. Always like this card. Very old, nostalgic kind of card. Used to read about it in the Duelist magazine. A lot of sweet combos with this card even then. Very powerful card. It was in the Tolarian Academy type, really busted decks that were probably the most degenerate thing that had happened in Magic up to that point, other than like the very, very early days. Just very insane period of Magic. But yeah, I bought two because it spiked and I was able to get in just before the spike happened. Got them for, I believe, 36 a pop. Pretty good deal. That's what it was going for before the spike, and then the spike hit, and now they're going for lightly played. I believe these are lightly played copies. Probably going for about double this, and they are, you know, reserve list cards, not likely to go down. I mean, maybe the spike's a little, you know, leaning on the hype, so it's possible they'll go down a bit from here, but I definitely anticipate these being a good investment over time because they are reserve list cards. And they're good. It's a good card. Just kind of foraying into Commander a little bit. Never really been much of a Commander player, but just kind of toying around with a couple deck ideas. Always liked green. I know green's great in Commander anyway, so just picking up some green staples that I'm kind of intrigued by a little bit. We got Silverback Elder foil, and we got Defiler of Vigor foil. Couple new cards. I guess they're not quite staples, but I think that they're great cards, great in basically any green deck. And Dominaria United, so I think that they're at a pretty good price for now. I feel like both of these could, you know, go up in price given that Standard's going to shrink soon. You know, they're good long-term value in Commander most likely. So yeah, pretty happy to pick these up. Got a nice little bonus scavenger ground in there. Just picking up lands that I think are good that I might want in a Commander deck, might want in specifically Azusa, which is what I've been thinking about building. So yeah, just picking stuff up a little bit. Another nice reserve list card I've been looking at. So another just kind of weird, you know, definitely would not get printed nowadays type of card. Yeah, it's a universal effect, very, very powerful and kind of chaotic effect that affects both players, so, or every player, I guess, if you're in Commander. So yeah, definitely a weird one, but I've always liked this card, another nostalgic one. A lot of potential to be abused, and I've been looking at it for that cube, for the artifact cube of enchantment cube I'm building, so yeah, a lot of reasons to get this. Only 20 bucks. Just figured that, you know, it's reserve list. It could definitely go up in price, and I've always wanted one. So there you go. Another cube, another cube pickup for me is this nice. Look at this gorgeous foil Omniscience. I'm gonna actually take this out. There we go. There we go. Look at this. Look at how shiny. Yeah. So I love this card. It's just such a fun card to, obviously. I mean, you get into play, you most likely win from there. You know, little goldfishy in that aspect, but you know, finding a way to get it in the play, a lot of fun. Just yeah, very, very gorgeous card. I love the art. I love just kind of, you know, just this kind of abstract style of art you sometimes get on Magic cards. So yeah, I got a foil just because I think it looks great in foil. I like foils in general, but I especially like it on cards like this with art like this that kind of have that, you know, that out there kind of feel. So yeah, picked up a foil Omniscience for, I think it was like 19, 20 bucks. Not horrible. Nice little, hello. There's the Magic card. It is Magic related. I have no idea what I ordered. I honestly, I just kind of order stuff sometimes. I forget about it, and it's more fun that way because then you get mail day and you get to just kind of, it's like Christmas. I was a little skeptical about buying these because they're about to rotate from Standard. I know they're seeing a lot of play in Standard. I could see the price taking a hit after they rotate. However, they're great lands, fantastic lands. I think they're some of the best duels that we have. I've always kind of wanted this effect, and once it was printed, I was like, yeah, that's like you know, for any slower deck commander for sure. This is just it's free most of the time. I mean, in a format like that, you're not really going to be losing out on much with the drawback, I think, of these coming into play tapped on your first 2 land drops, right? So yeah, so picked up 2 for my cube. Once again, a lot of these are going to be for my cube, but also just wanted these cards. They're just great lands. I think any cube I build, I could see these being a contender for the mana base. So great pickups, but also just got a bonus little Takenuma, which I really like these channel lands. They're just great. Anytime you see a card like this with an ability tacked on a land that has no drawback. I mean, untapped black source, very, very little drawback. It's just a good card, hard for it to be bad. And they're pretty cheap. There's like $5. Just want to get these at a decent price because I think not necessarily expecting this one to be worth definitely not as much as Boseiju or the blue one, but yeah, I mean it could go up, and either way I think it's just a pretty solid card. It's going to be good in a lot of decks. So yeah, and then we got this for very cheap. I forget, it was like $1. I don't know, it's a good card, good effect. I mean, it's 3 mana. I'm thinking versus like Goblin Electromancer being a little more expensive makes it less of a card, I think, in like combo decks, but I don't know. I could see it being good in the new standard. I could see it being decent in any spell based like commander deck. So yeah, it seems like a good card for $1. So pretty happy with it. More Omniscience as well. Yeah, I just found these at a good deal. I think they were again like 20. I won't even bother to. I think it's just both Omnisciences here, but yeah, I mean they were like $20 for the Judge foil. I do really like the card. I don't know, when they're that good of a price, I felt it was hard to pass up. These nice guys here. More Judge foils. I actually like the other art more, if I'm being honest, but it's gorgeous, and it's nice to have copies of this card. I mean, the 60 card decks that play this card usually want multiples. I mean, usually 4 or at least 3. So yeah. We get into the Phyrexia cards. I definitely have been kind of investing a lot in Phyrexia cards. I just feel like good time to get them right when people are drafting a lot. I mean, prices are super low. I do think that this set is so popular that I don't expect cards to do as well financially as say they would if they were from like Crimson Vow or something. But I still think that a lot of good cards in this set. Definitely a lot of cards that have potential in new standard. And yeah, just some good cards in general. So picked up a couple of these for pretty cheap. They were definitely under $1. I'm not like insane about this card, but it is a good card. I mean, great stats, super annoying in combat, good effect if it hits them. I mean, I think this is a good card. I think it's probably a little underplayed just because we're in a really removal heavy standard. So it's not, great when you trade 3 mana for 2, or 1, which is going to happen a lot. I guess not 1 as often, but, or yeah, 1 sometimes. I mean, lay down arms, So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good card though. I think in the right environment, this could be pretty good, and doesn't seem like a bad pickup for under $1. Definitely been blown out by this thing in limited. It's pretty strong combination of keywords there, right? So yeah, this was also super cheap. I don't know how I feel about it necessarily in terms of like long term, but I just think passives on a planeswalker are good. I mean, obviously they're not the punishing type from War of the Spark, but I think in general when you get these passives, it's a pretty good thing to just tack onto already a good card. And yeah, I mean, I think this is a good planeswalker. I think that this probably will go up a bit in new standard. Not gonna break the bank with it, but I think it's a solid card. So yeah, this one, I'm getting this now for like $1 or like 70 cents or something insane. I mean, this card has gone down so much. Definitely a really good card. I think in standard, if the support is there, it could see play, and then in the next standard even more so. And but obviously the more you go back is where it has its real strength. I mean, already seeing play in like Vintage, Legacy, So yeah, I mean, it's a good card. I don't think it's going to be a super high value card necessarily, just given it doesn't seem super good in Commander, which is obviously the big driver of prices most of the time. And I mean, it could be okay in Commander, I suppose, but it's not great in Commander, really. Yeah, but I think when I first bought a couple of these back when the hype was really going for these, and people were going crazy about this card for a second. And I mean, it was like $7-8, and it was selling out places. But yeah, I mean, I bought one for like $4 at that point. You know, obviously regretting it a little bit now, not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, $4 was overpaying given where they're at now. But I think when they're at $1.50, again, this might have literally been like 70 cents. It's a good pickup for that price, I think. I mean, I think it, you know, it's like a Dreadhorde Arcanist that won't get banned. I don't think this card's getting banned. But it's good. So, you know, seems decent to own. This card is one of my biggest, and the next one, which we'll talk about, but this is one of my biggest hedges from this set. I don't think this card, it's interesting. These are kind of interesting to talk about in a pair, because I think both of these, well, let's talk about this first. So I think this one is going to be great in Standard. I think this card, I mean, we'll see. It's 6 mana. It's a lot of mana, but Standard can support 6 mana spells. It's a great effect. I mean, you know, it's essentially a Wrath for 6 mana that, you know, gives you this thing when you're, you know, whatever the effect is. I forget, Tragic Arrogance. I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, it's like already a good effect on a body essentially. You know, you don't have to play it that way. It's very hard to kill in combat. You know, just a lot. This card just does quite a bit and protects itself very well. It can get you out of a lot of situations. I think this card's undervalued. It's already seeing some play. I think it'll see more in the new Standard. Has Commander potential. I don't see it seeing much play outside of those two formats, possibly Pioneer. But for that reason, I don't see, and it's in a popular set, I don't see it being, you know, that crazy. I'd be pretty shocked if it went above like $10. But I could see it go. It was just like $1.50, $2 for this. I think that I could see it going to, I don't know, $5. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I could see it going to higher than this. So we'll see. But yeah, this one I've been maybe even a little bit higher on. This one I think is less of a like standard, potential standard powerhouse. Like I think Wanderer could kind of go down that road, you know. But this card, I think, is a great enabler. I think this card's already seeing a ton of play in random modern decks that are just, you know, just devoted combos kind of back with this card. I've seen weird, like, Vanifor, actually that wasn't modern, but I've seen all sorts of weird builds with this deck, or with this card. It's just, you know, very good. Again, that static is real, just good in so many decks. I mean, it's just such a great just effect to just kind of have access to, you know, in addition to already having a pretty good card. But yeah, just good enabler for any strategy that cares about, you know, creatures that do stuff. I think it's a card that scales well with time, because, you know, more combos and creatures that, you know, mana dorks, things like that will get printed. So yeah, I think it's got potential in those kinds of formats, and maybe in Commander a bit. I could see, you know, it's just a good card if you're in these colors and have a lot of, you know, mana dorks or whatever. But probably mostly in formats like Modern and Pioneer and stuff. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. They're so cheap now. They're like $1.50. So it just doesn't feel like I'm losing much picking up a couple. You're probably going to see more in these, you know, coming packages, but I've bought a few. And this one I won't really talk about, just picking it up real cheap. It's in my cube, and it's like 20 cents or something crazy. You know, it's never going to be worth a whole lot, I don't think, because it's banned in Commander and basically unplayable everywhere else, but yeah, it's an iconic card, and I like the cool schematic art quite a bit. So there we are.